Welcome to the Real Chili Podcast.
And the Golden Eagles of Marquette University in Milwaukee are bound for the Final Four for only the third time ever.
5 seconds left. Marquette down by one, trying to avoid the upset. Blue the drive, the left hand. It's good. 1 second to play. Vander Blue and put Marquette in front by one.
And I want to win every day as basketball players, as students, and I want to win every day, most importantly, as people.
And
let people know that we're
pow!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first ever Real Chili Podcast on video. You can finally see all of our ugly faces in a year of tremendous change in America. We just thought we'd just add one more thing for you to have to get used to this year. Welcome to Real Chili Live on video. Fellas, I'm Mike Lavender. How you doing? Pete Mohan, how you doing?
Hi.
Brian, Stemware, Malbec.
just exquisite, Mr. Lavender and the rest of you. How is it? How's life? Marquette basketball is apparently happening. So, yeah, let's get into it. Why not?
Well, I can tell you one fan who's really ready to go. It also might be really cold in this house, but neighbor Pete, you're socially distanced and dressed for the weather.
Brian, I hope you have a spit bucket right next to you, and you'll be spitting this entire time. I am excited. I thought since we were going live that I would exhibit all of my charitable donations to our beloved alma mater this winter cap. Of course, the COVID mask. I also got these Argyle socks on.
Is that your humble flex that you're donating more money than the rest of us right now? Is that what you're trying to say?
As well as my koozie in the shape of a dorm that I didn't stay in, and I donated a grand total of $20, I believe, for all these items. So Marquette has me to thank for a student's
You're
lunch.
running them a deficit right now.
Yeah, go fill up your wallet for the love of God.
Hey, give me a couple of years or a couple of decades, and then I'll be able to donate as much as I'd like.
And last but not least, we've got Eric Pond back in the cut. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. I've been waiting, I think, all my life to say this, but tonight, bros, we'll do it live.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
I thought it was going to be better than that, but that wasn't bad. That was a C-plus effort.
Well, we're live, so I figured I'd leave out a few expletives,
It's fair.
kind of edit it for the kids. But I'm good, guys. I'm so excited to be back. I feel like we kind of mark the passage of time each year with the reconvening of this group and what has happened since last offseason. Unfortunately, this year, and that's kind of a really grim and really devastating look back. But at the same time, it's just good to be back with you guys. I'm ready to stop doom scrolling life events and start doom scrolling college basketball events.
Well,
yes.
It's funny you mentioned that because we were just saying before we got on, or I was just saying that it feels like it has been years since our last podcast, which was the Wojo podcast, I think in April or March. But it's been the normal amount of time that we would have had between off-season pods, but it just feels like forever. So getting back with you guys, getting back with our let's see, 2 live watchers right now.
Yeah.
Pretty great. We'll be posting this on audio.
That's actually why they called it ESPN2 originally, because originally they had 2 fans. And look where they are now.
Big things in our future. Big things in our future. So we wanted to start off today with a little conversation around the offseason. Obviously, it's been a big offseason in a lot of different regards, not only with what's happening in the country, and we're bringing that up because the team also experienced that as well. The team was working through some of those things. But I think we wanted to start with one of the more breaking news pieces, which is Marcus Howard. The NBA draft was Wednesday night. I believe that was Wednesday, November 18th, off its normal time due to the shifted NBA schedule. And Marcus Howard, although he went undrafted, was able to ultimately sign a 2-way contract with the Denver Nuggets, which, fellas, I'm going to open it up, but feels like about as good as you could have hoped if you're rooting for Marcus Howard, which I know all of us were.
Well, I don't think there was a scenario where an NBA team wouldn't want to be seeing him having regular minutes in the D League, because there weren't any like legit minutes for him on any team right now. So for him to have the 2-way and just have that access to, I'm sure, unlimited minutes wherever. I think someone mentioned that they don't have an official affiliate Denver. So
Right.
Whichever team he latches onto, I'm sure he'll be getting a ton of run. So that's what he needs. And it's time and confidence building against AAA competition for him for right now. Better than him rotting on the end of the bench, if you ask me.
So I fully agree, Mohan. I was on the edge of my seat, obviously, all night, as I know we all were with the active text chain late into the night, but waiting to see Marcus and really interested as well to see other Big East competitors like Miles Powell, where they would go off the board. 2 first-team All-Americans who scored a combined 5,000 points in the Big East. They ended up not getting drafted, which was interesting, and sort of thought a lot about it in the days since. And I've come around a quote that Jay Wright said, actually, which was really interesting to me. Said, the draft is about trying to find a hidden gem or a potential superstar. You're willing to take chances in a draft more than you would in free agency, and that's what the draft is. I think Miles and Marcus, they are what they are, and they're very valuable. But I think they can both be really valuable members of a team. The NBA does not draft to find team members. They just try to find superstars or diamonds in the rough. And that kind of explains it really well and nutshells it really well to me. Of course, Jay Wright has his own agenda and, speaking on why 2 members of the elite first team All-Americans from the Big East didn't get drafted. But it really summed it up well for me and kind of put it in perspective. I don't know, guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the draft is all about upside. I mean, especially in the second round when teams are just trying to take flyers. I mean, Marcus is a known commodity. You know exactly who he is and what he can do. And, as the night progressed, I think once we got into the mid 40s and these guys we had never heard of before, and even some college players, I think that were, not highly regarded college players or didn't make a great name for themselves while they were in college were getting drafted. We're like, it's not shaping up well for Marcus. But I think it, obviously we've seen Wesley Matthews and did Jay Crowder get drafted? I don't think so. Did he?
I don't think he did. Yeah, I think he was.
Well, Wes Matthews.
Jay was drafted. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And Dwight Bikes got a cup of coffee. Marquette players have this kind of, I think they have this, maybe we just think this or like to think it, but I think it's actually true, is that Marquette players have this reputation of hard workers, hard-nosed guys, and Marcus certainly fits that bill.
Since Dwayne Wade was drafted in the top 5 in 2003, there have been 7 players drafted into the NBA from Marquette. Pete Mohan, take a crack at it.
How many?
7.
Since D Wade.
All of them.
Since Dwayne Wade.
Okay. Of course, number
7
one.
7 have been drafted, not played, drafted into the NBA. So,
Henry Ellenson.
Yep.
Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
Jay Crowder.
Yep. One of Jay's teammates.
I want to say DJO was drafted.
Correct, by the Lakers, I believe.
Now I'm trying to think. Who
No,
else?
you got to go to our era, and you got it all.
I went. Okay, yeah. Wes
Was not drafted.
Wes was not undrafted. That's right.
Yeah.
He's the highest grossing player ever
I'll speed it
undrafted.
up. But
I got one.
You got it?
You were about to say it. Well, yeah, you were about to say it. Lazar.
Lazar? For
Lazar?
sure. Yeah.
Steve Novak, and right before we all got there, Travis Diener. So I'll add that, and I'll pivot. Like to what Eric said, like, of course, everybody, we wanted to see Marcus go. I don't think anybody in this group had the slightest amount of hope that he was getting drafted the other night. I mean, God love him, but you said it well, Eric. You thought he had a decent shot of being picked?
I did. I thought in the second round, just
I actually
because
went
of
into it
the
too. Like I really thought that. Like
I was hopeful. I hoped,
bought
but
into
I
some
thought
of those, like, Bucks are sucking up second round picks because they want someone like that. Like I bought into some of that for sure. Yeah.
You knew at 5'10" why waste a pick? Like were you for what you just said? Better off drafting somebody overseas than that. I don't think a 5'10" shooting guard is going to be someone that gets picked.
Yeah, I think this is a classic case of metrics and athleticism, measurables, height, length, speed, whatever, being overvalued in the draft, as is always the case compared to college resumes, heart, hustle, game tape, whatever experience. Like it's really prioritizing some of those diamonds in the rough, as Jay Wright said, over, and those could end up being cubic zirconia for all we know, over like perfectly good gems in front of their faces, which would be your, Marcus Howard's. Again, isn't that not a similar player, but similar like Big Ten player, Josh Hart? Isn't that kind of I don't think he was drafted, solid role on a team. Again, he doesn't have the same measurables, height deficiency, maybe defensive limitations that someone like Marcus does, which would have pushed him more into the, we know what he is. We want him on a team. We just don't want to draft him. But again, you often see guys like that come into a team and rise to the top fairly quickly, or rise into some role, just earn a spot.
I mean,
I think we see that with Marcus at some point. It might be after a year or two of him scoring 48 points a game in the G League or whatever, but it's going to happen.
I mean, it comes down to a simple math equation for Marcus before we kind of shift gears. I mean, it comes down to a simple math equation. Can his offensive efficiency and output offset his deficiencies on
plus minus, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And I honestly, we all watch plenty of NBA. I couldn't tell you what the hell Denver's, I mean, not that, what their defensive system is like, but
they're pretty good at the point guard position. We can give you that.
Center.
I think they're good there. And at center, they're pretty good at those two.
Right. So can he be put into a defensive situation where he's set up to succeed? It's not necessarily the offensive situation. So we're all rooting for him. I guess if I'm throwing my 2 cents in, it's going to be tough sledding. It's a big league. It's an athletic league. And I think he knows that. He seems real with himself, but you got to bet on yourself. And he's certainly got the elite offensive skill set to maybe go the distance.
Jay Billis was talking about Aaron Nesmith being the best shooter in the draft. Come on, man. Maybe the best shooter that was likely to get picked, but there's no doubt who the best shooter available was. It's Marcus Damn Howard. Okay.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. So,
Mike, I'd like to, can we rewind it one bit? I know we're not editing ability right now, and we're live, but. Just going back to what happened in the off season and, with what this team did and the leadership they showed, there was one particular thing that just stuck out to me that I think we'd be remiss not to mention in that kind of look back. And that's sort of surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement. We're political, but we're not. We're, all birds of a feather, but again, we're live. We're humans. It's been, again, a very tough stretch of time on all fronts, but I was so damn proud of this team on so many levels for what they did over the past 6 months, 9 months, but particularly in the wake of George Floyd and what happened in Black Lives Matter. Dwayne Killings and Justin Gainey formed the Coaches for Action following that in June, which was really a lot of minority assistants across the Big East who wanted to see change. And they pushed through and got through, unanimously approved a Black Lives Matter patch that's going to be on the uniforms. And I know we're going to talk about uniforms, so I want to bring this up here.
Yep.
Maybe it's a good transition, but we were the first league for men's and women's hoops to have that pushed through. And it's just such a great leadership position for us to take for the university and for this basketball team. And I was so proud of them. So I know we're going to talk about uniforms. There are a lot of other changes that were extremely exciting. To me, that's chief among them.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've all been living through this year together on this planet as humans, and the basketball team is no different. And seeing them respond, and it wasn't just basketball players, right? You saw the entire Marquette athletic.
Yep, that's exactly.
Walking down Wells, I don't remember exactly, 16th Street maybe.
Down to Valley Fields, I think they walked, and then I want to say Greg or Jamal talked there as well, and. Yeah.
So, and
Samir made a great speech.
Yeah.
So really great to, see those kids live into that moment and everything that it means and send the messages loud and clear, particularly across a state like Wisconsin, which is very divided right now, as much as my home state of Michigan is. And not only was all of that going on, but then, of course, you had the pandemic. If you've heard Steve Wojciechowski talk and any coach in America talk, you hear them talking about, I guess I think about it this way. I'm trying to juggle my own life and juggle my own work and my own family. Imagine trying to do that and run a fucking basketball program and have it be successful. Like that is a monumental challenge and not one that just Wojo is facing, but every coach in America. So I think that, to me, that really puts a lens and perspective on the season. And you've seen a little bit in college football, right? A bunch of teams that we thought were going to be good, particularly in the Big Ten, have sucked, like like Penn State, Minnesota, Michigan. That could
there's a lot of holes in that damn boat up in Minnesota right now.
They better roll.
You can always just count on Illinois sucking. So
Hey, what's happening? What's happening in that game?
I love you that.
Oh, Gophers up 21-10. Let's go.
So live Big Ten football updates here on the Real
Chat. Over the shoulder. If you get tired of listening to us talk.
Hey, Bubbles, what's going on NIU right now?
Saw that Dairy Queen hot eats cool treats ad over your shoulder earlier. That burger was looking pretty French.
So Eric mentioned this just a minute ago. We've got new uniforms. I got to be honest, guys. I haven't done any research on this. Do we have new uniforms for in perpetuity or these?
Yeah, what? I mean, they're.
Oh yeah. No, it's a whole new set.
They're fresh as hell.
Yeah,
what
it's a whole new
set. They're great.
They're fine. I don't love them. They're fine. They don't get me like.
Talking about the yellow or the teal?
They're fine.
The teal?
I'm not a huge fan of the font. I don't know if that's me.
It's the best part.
Don't love the font. Really? Okay, well then I'm weak. I don't know what to tell you. Tell me I suck.
You suck.
Well,
I think the yellow. I think the yellow looks really sharp. The rest of it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't give
move the needle.
It's kind of that like cotton candy blue color that's like a deep teal. Like it's. I don't know. The kids love it.
There's also going to be a baby blue, I believe, is what I
there's got to be. They always
in addition. So there's a teal, a light blue, a navy blue, a white, a gold, and probably some gray or black like that. But if I were to pontificate for a second, I would say that it's a pretty cool custom font, and it's something actually I think that you find quite common these days is finding someone to design a custom font for your needs. And I think that the one that they developed is pretty cool. There was some critique over it saying that it looks too much like the Milwaukee Tool logo.
I saw that too.
Which is a tad geometric, I will agree.
Why is that a bad thing, though?
That's the thing, yeah.
Milwaukee Tool, once based in Milwaukee, now manufactures their tools in China, which is a bit unfortunate, but I think they're...
And I know a guy who heads up their health and safety team. So everyone is ergonomically safe in surrounding that font. And so I think that's good karma for our font onto our jerseys, and therefore we'll play well in them.
unleash
That's
some M18 energy on some ass this year.
Safe play, low turnovers.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what'll make that jersey and that font great? Win a few games. That'd be wonderful. We'll love
Only
that jersey
3?
at
Is that's your...
I mean, I think we like discount the fact that like this is actually like a pretty cool like recruiting tool to some degree. Like we get fresh stuff every year. It's a product of Jordan to some degree. How
Is it?
And like,
What-
you don't think
aren't we
being
past
Jordan
the-
and being
We're
like,
Jordan. Why wouldn't you want to be? Why would you want to be
Like,
any
this is
brand
a
other than
product
Jordan?
Of the brand team at Jordan, who's like, and they see us as like, hey, we've free reign to refresh these every couple of years. Like this is a big deal and a big thing. Like I don't know, it's for the kids. It's good.
Well,
It's
yeah,
for the kids.
and I mean,
and it's historically tied into who
True.
Marquette is. Obviously,
It is.
Like
that's
again,
what I was
everyone
going
knows
to
those
say. Yeah.
stories. Everyone knows that Danny Pudi produced 30 for 30 short or whatever it was. Like it's great. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's part of our image. So to update and refresh the
It's who we
the
are.
look.
Yeah.
Having lived with Brian Henry for 15 years, I know his face when he gets, or known Brian Henry for 15 years, I know his face
Say,
when,
geez.
bored, when he gets bored of a subject and is ready to move on, and that's the face he's got right now.
What? That is not the case at all. I'm just over the uniforms don't move the needle for me. That's fine. I'm glad Eric's enthusiastic. I'm glad
He already
Pete
said
is.
he
I'm
hates
glad Pete is.
the typeface, hates the font. It's all good.
What do you hate the
I'm over
Midwest?
it.
You hate rural. Anyway,
You hate hardworking Milwaukeeans?
that was our
Not at all.
warm up
Just
segment.
over the uniform.
All right, let me
He's a
pivot.
little
with-
classier than that. Is what he's trying to say. Look
But
at that.
everyone's finally seeing. Or
I'm gonna hit the mute
people
button
who are
on
live
you,
streaming this
fellas.
are finally seeing like what we actually look like when we talk about this shit because I feel like we get feisty on a lot of these. So finally they're able to.
if they're not profusely vomiting from the looks of our faces.
Then they'll be deeply peering into our eyes.
Yeah.
There's 4 people watching right
or
now.
from COVID-19.
Shout out to the 4 people
Just-
watching.
Shout out
In
to
order
the
to-
quarantined watchers.
In order to pivot to our next subject, we were talking about the jerseys. So, neighbor Pete, who are you most looking forward to slam dunking in one of those cool new Marquette duds?
Wow, I wasn't ready for that question, but I can get ready real quick because it's DJ Carton, my friends.
Whoa!
I feel like America as a whole, we're so worried about, what's going on with this election that we totally forgot about DJ Carton. That's what I think. This guy,
Get your goddamn priorities straight, America. Jesus.
exactly right. He's a 5-star recruit. He tore it up while he was at Ohio State for the half a year he was there. We have not had a point guard this talented since Dominic James, and had a better prospect at the point guard position since who knows when. I mean, this guy is a top level athlete. The way that he can take the ball, go down the court in transition and finish strongly, dunking. We got a point guard that can dunk now.
Wow.
I mean, that's
Been a
cool.
while.
The hotness
But hey,
of
Hacker.
those takes is just unbelievable. Let me go open the oven to cool down this room right now. Holy shit.
Well,
Wow. Best
He's
point
gonna be
guard
great.
since
I mean-
Dominique James. Holy
Yeah.
smokes.
Absolutely.
Junior Cadogan
Absolutely.
and Dwight Bikes
Lest
are
we forget
wildly
David
offended by your
Kubion.
comments. Yeah. Holy
he's better than
crap.
Junior Cadogan already. I mean, come on. Look at him against Kentucky.
God,
His
Maurice
highlights
Acker is
against
offended
Kentucky
by
last
your
year.
commentary.
Look at his.
Unbelievable.
If you look at so this website 3-Man Weave. It had a-
three-man weave. Yes, the authority on all things.
It had an extremely strong review, a whole Big East preview. Really, the website looks like trash,
I'm
but it
sold.
was actually really
Let's
good
do it.
stuff. But I'm saying, look at that article. Find 3-Man Weave Big East preview, and look at the numbers for Ohio State when DJ Carton was on the court versus when they were off. It's really impressive numbers, and the guy is. I'm telling you, he's going to be a stud.
All right, so let me set this up a little bit for some of our listeners who maybe don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Of a 16-man roster, only 5 faces on the roster are folks who played any minutes last season, let alone significant minutes last season. You have
And
folks,
I'm okay with that.
folks, he's about, I guess you can see now, I don't have to say this, but he's about, what is that, glass number 3 of the 2016 Malbec?
Things are starting to feel good though. Let's keep it going.
So we do have the returning players. We have Theo John, Greg Elliott, Symir Torrance, Jamal Kane, and
Greg
no, that's it. Then we have
Squint.
Kobe McEwen.
Kobe McEwen.
Kobe McEwen. Excuse me, I scrolled over that.
Hope those four people
How could
viewing
you
are enjoying our
scroll over
first
that?
and last live stream.
Oh, we're back up to four. Yeah, we're back up to 4 now. It dropped down when you were attacking Neighbor for his DJ card view.
Oh, damn.
I wasn't attacking his view. I was attacking the
What
Three
happens?
Man Weave website.
Anyway, so
It's the least favorite offense by far. So
so to bring this back a little bit, we're looking at, just step away from the talent for a second. We have a year in which there's much less practice time, right? You don't before the season. There's not a trip to Europe to play, right, a few games and bond. Yet this is one of the most significant roster turnovers maybe we've seen since we've been podcasting, if not since we've been following Marquette. I think the minutes on this team could dramatically shift from last year, depending on how some of this shakes out. You have new faces, just to name a few. Justin Lewis, Dexter Akano was on the roster last year but didn't play. Oso Ighodaro, DJ Carton, who Neighbor mentioned, and Dawson Garcia, who we expect, those are the names who we expect to get major minutes, maybe throw in Jose Perez.
just to mention, one thing too is Akano unfortunately came down with COVID, and so it's basically unknown, when he'll be ready or if there's any complications or anything like that. And then the guy you just mentioned, Jose Perez, he's sitting out this year on a transfer redshirt. So
What was the Akano news?
I don't know. I had just seen it around the old rumor mill, little grist there.
Water cooler.
Yeah, but the rest of those guys, I mean, first of all, it's a pretty studly recruiting class. I mean, across the past decade, it's probably one of the top 3 recruiting classes, I would say, for Marquette. And then I'd like to talk about the seniors because, I mean, obviously Marcus had a strange sending off last year. And I think, you're really going to see some powerful leadership from this year's group of seniors and Jamal and Theo and Kobe. I mean, these are guys who have all struggled with various, things throughout their career. Kobe being transfers and stuff like that. Theo's injuries. Jamal was injured for a bit too. And of course, their cohort, Greg Elliott, behind a year now after redshirting from injuries. So I think a lot of us are big Greg Elliott fans, and he's going to be one of those veteran guys who's been around the program a long time too, that we need to count on for leadership throughout this transition.
Brian, I want to get your take on this. First, I do want to mention, I'm keeping an eye on the YouTube comments, and I don't know if he's still watching, but we got our good friend Freddie Shamoon who's telling us Sabs, but definitely tuning in and enjoying the show. Brian, I want to throw this to you. You've done some coaching in your life, maybe at the 8th grade, high school level. But what can you say about bringing a team? What can you say about,
which is very comparable to Division I men's college basketball?
Right. So you have
very
a pretty
comparable.
good grasp of what he's about.
I mean, when you're chopping it up at the 8th grade level of the Detroit CYO, it is just like the Big East. But
Just
please,
Tom Allen, less than 10 years ago, was coaching high school in Indiana. So
anything's possible.
so
anything's possible.
Brian,
go ahead. No, yeah, sure.
take us through your thought process. You have all of these new faces coming together. These guys hardly know each other. They're transferring in. Some are freshmen. Some are redshirting. That is a lot of personnel to manage, and it's a lot of talent to manage. How do you think that manifests itself on the court, and who are you expecting maybe to stand out of kind of what you know of the roster?
Well, I'd start with this. I think it's much needed. The complete, just about reset button on this roster that's going to happen. You outlined only about 5 guys returning that saw the floor last year. The entire dynamic of the way this team prepares and plays will be completely different. and they badly needed to be in this situation. I think. I mean, again, we're not going to talk about Marcus any more than we did off the top, but we're going to see a 5-man team play basketball this year, which we really haven't seen offensively over the last 3 seasons. When it comes to what I'm most excited for going forward, you guys already laid it out. DJ Carton, and we haven't talked about him yet, but Dawson Garcia are the 2 guys that are expected to be the biggest horses that lead scoring on this. Somebody has to score the basketball on this team. Presumably, those are going to be the 2 to do it. Garcia is obviously one of the most heralded recruits we've had come in some time, and we know what Carton did in a very good Big Ten conference starting at Ohio State. So I'm excited to see an offense that centers around a guard, a solid big, and then you have nice role players that are upperclassmen that you just outlined, whether it's Jamal, Greg, or Theo, guys that rebound the ball, guys that run the floor and can shoot it well for stretches. They could surprise us with this group. I wouldn't bet my life on it that this is an NCAA tournament team, but it wouldn't shock me if they were, if the right things fall into place. I think the pieces are there.
Do you guys think it's possible? Because I think it's obvious that Kobe is still going to be basically taking 10 shots a game or more volume in the offense. Do you see him becoming a more?
Hang on. Well, what do you mean still taking 10? Because Kobe turned into Casper the Ghost in the second half of last season.
Well, when he was asked to, he fired at will.
Right.
Unless, or there was those games where he just started shooting in the last 1 minute of the game. But
it was very friendly. I'll give you that.
I'm sure he's very friendly.
I think that he is going to be
do anything.
I think that he's going to be asked to put a lot of the offensive burden still on his back from a shooting perspective. You can say what you will about that as a coaching decision, of course, but what does he have to do to become a more efficient player and play within the offense with these other guys? Because it obviously, whatever it was, wasn't working alongside Marcus. So I'm guessing that there's theoretically a better environment for Kobe to thrive in. And is this it? And if so, why or why not?
Well, because I think it will be, because Kobe is he's not a pass first guard. He's a scoring guard, and he will be playing alongside, or he will be going from playing alongside the biggest volume shooter in the country to 2 talented pass first point guards in Carton and Torrance. So that automatically has to build some confidence in him that he's going to be, can just play a little looser and freer and not have to worry about, well, is this Marcus's game or is this my game? I can just go out and play.
You still got to put the ball in the basket, though, when it comes down to it at the end of the day. And when Kobe had opportunities a year ago, he gave us
he's got to make shots. There's some of that's just it's a plain and simple answer. He's got to make shots. Like he did not last year in the biggest moments, and it wasn't
even just shots where he didn't finish at the rim very well. I mean, even when he got the basket,
that's right. No. So I think this is a question I have and a hope I have for DJ, and that's not only relates to his own production sort of on the floor, but really his ability to make his teammates better. And that's something we're all craving as Marquette fans that you can hear right now. And that's not only someone who gets his shot, but someone who can elevate the entire cast around him. I believe DJ might be that guy. I think also Dawson Garcia is going to play inside out, which is going to help a little bit. I think you're going to see some benefit to having a big or a couple bigs. You also have Justin Lewis, who probably will play at times like and I don't know
if you saw the highlights from the scrimmage, but they had quite a few of Justin Lewis, scoring both inside and from 3. So
that's exactly right. I think that's going to open up things, hopefully, and unclog that center a little bit too for someone like Kobe, who really struggled with that last year.
So after seeing Justin Lewis hit that 3, I automatically thought he was going to be first team rookie, all Big East rookie. I was just like, wait, Marquette's got a guy over 6'6" who can hit a 3. Holy shit!
You might even say he's the next Mike Kinsella, neighbor.
Oh,
Nothing.
I
That
might
joke
say
fell flat. That fell flat. All right, whatever.
So neighbor,
I liked Mike Kinsella. Well,
Henry Ellenson was 6'10", about 240. I just looked this up.
And raked.
I don't have it memorized. Dawson Garcia, at least on the roster, is 6'11", 235. Do you have a sense of are their games similar? Do you expect Garcia to fill a similar type role that Ellenson filled on the team as a freshman? Do you think Garcia is that talented, or do you expect Garcia to play a different role, given his height, given his size?
God,
well,
I hope he's
going to. Yeah, I hope he's better too. But he's going to have a totally different role than Henry Ellenson, mostly just because this is a lot more talented team than we had back then. I believe.
Well, and was Henry's first season, was that right before Marcus came, or were they on the team?
They weren't on the.
It was the year before Marcus got here.
So that's really essentially, how tack on that extra year of Henry of isolation ball, because it was just dumping it into Henry in the post and
Well, yeah,
ISO.
He would bring it up the court half the time too,
right?
And lead us into transition. So Dawson's not going to be doing any of that. To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't really know much about Dawson Garcia outside of his hype. Will he be able to live up to his high ranking? I have no idea. I hope he does, but I just can't.
It's nice to have some high ceiling, it's nice to have some high ceiling, high potential guys in the front court, though, because I feel like, for almost all of our Marquette fanhood, it seems like if we're going well, it's because some guards are putting us on their back, unless it's Jimmy and Lazar and Jay. They were centers because they were forced to,
right?
But they were, but most of the upside and the big recruits that we always get tend to be guards. So I'm really interested to see how this shakes out, and especially long term from a development standpoint, to see how Wojo molds guys like this.
Would any of you be opposed? I would love to see lineups with Theo at the 5, and then you come with Dawson at the 4.
Right.
I think that would be an ideal scenario of being able to get him off, both pick and rolling, but the high-low games that the two of them can play. And Theo is obviously he's a monster on the glass. If teams are more concerned about doubling him, that's going to create he'll score 8 points a game, and 6 of them will be off putbacks that are easy buckets because of attention that the 6'11" kid he's playing alongside of is drawing attention. I think Theo could be in line for a monster season.
So
and here's the other
if
thing.
He's that impact.
Rothstein put out today the projected started 5, and it seems like he has some Wojo intel that everyone knows John Rothstein. He has Theo at the 5, Dawson at the 4, although again, we play guards and forwards. We don't play centers, power forwards, whatever. And then Samir, DJ, and Kobe. So that's exactly what
Marquette's projected lineup. The thing I want to say about Dawson is obviously high recruit. We don't really have anybody with his supposed talent and size to fit that 4 outside of maybe Jamal. So we just kind of place him in there without knowing for sure at that 4 spot. The thing I wonder about is his motor and his ability to rebound the basketball and his ability to play defense. Will he bring that from day one?
So that's what I was going to mention.
I'm a little skeptical.
So Pete,
playing alongside Theo.
Good.
What, Brian?
No, go ahead, Brian.
I cut off Pete. I was just going to say, you just admitted to I don't really know much about him, but now you just questioned all of his effort and energy.
I don't know about that.
I don't know much about him, but does he care? I don't know. Let's find.
I don't think we can keep saying
we'll find out.
Well, yeah, this guy's pretty highly rated coming in. He's highly this is one of the most highly rated recruits we've landed.
Right. But hang on,
incredibly highly rated. Isn't he a McDonald's?
I still don't think it's fair to put. But I still don't think it's fair to put you need to be 15 and 10 coming in as a freshman, because there's very few freshmen that do that, even with 5 stars next to your name. It's a brutal league. There's no guarantee. I agree. He's going to be on the court. You presume he's going to make a positive impact. Is he going to be a guy that's our best player? Sure, it'd be nice. I think we could. If he is our best player, I think there's a chance that the team is, because I think the group that's around him, I think there's a certain level they'll be at. He could be the difference that takes them up a level if he's as good as we hope he is. But no, you're right. No, I'm teasing Pete. We don't know. Eric, I disagree. I don't think you can lock in any freshman as like this guy's just going to be unbelievable.
No, but I think we're talking about him like he's Osa Ighodaro, and he's not. Like, this guy is incredibly good. Like, so here, this is from a week.
Are we gun shy because of Ellenson? Is this why? Because look, be real. What it was, Henry was a first round pick. We all watched it.
How many McDonald's All-Americans have we ever had?
Not that many.
So this is what Wojo said in his presser a week ago. He said, Garcia can play inside, outside, creates mismatches. Wojo mentioned how competitive he is, blah, 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 likened to Mike Dunleavy Jr. Post up, draw big, run out.
Well, sign me up.
So I don't know. I mean,
this is all that it boils down to is playing alongside Theo. When Theo's playing well, he's playing aggressive and he's going after shots and putbacks and things like that. And the problem is that takes him out of position, and we don't ever have anyone to have his back. And that's the question. Is Garcia that guy that can weak side rebound, weak side defend, and complement Theo, actually? And that is what impacts his, hey, is he going to have 15 and 10? Well, that's simply dependent on how many minutes he plays. I'm sure with volume, he's a pretty decently efficient offensive player, but who's going to get the minutes is going to be the guy that can play rotation defense, because we haven't had that secondary defensive presence alongside Theo yet. And
we won't know the answer to that question until November 25th against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Let's go. Tip it off.
Have a definitive answer.
One more question before we shift over to talking a little bit about what little we know of the schedule already. And Eric Pond, I want to throw this to you. Theo John was someone who established himself in his freshman and sophomore years, is creeping towards one of the, if not the best post players, post defenders, rim guarders, as it were, in the Big East, if not the country. And in his junior season last year, I think it's fair to say we saw a bit of a regression. It seems like that was due to nagging injuries in his hand. Theo, to me, feels like an essential part of this team, not only from the physical on the court sense, but also from kind of the identity mentality sense. How do you see Theo returning this year, presumably full health, impacting this team in a positive sense?
You laid it out pretty well. It's a great leading question, Mike. Like, he seems like he's probably the Ray Lewis of this locker room. Like, he's the guy that goes in, gets guys
with a murder charge.
Yeah, without stabbing someone or whatever. Okay, well, this is where not having the ability to edit really kills us. But he's he's your big. He's your really, your energy guy, your glue guy, your defender guy. He's the heart and soul. He's not only physically in the middle of this team and in the middle of the court or in the middle, of the lane, but he is like the middle of the team itself. And it's so great to have someone like that back and to build around someone like that. Like, that is incredibly encouraging. Again, as you build around a lot of these other key and will be core pieces that they've brought in. He knows the identity of the program. He knows Wojo's staff style, everything. And again, more importantly, this year, just with all those pieces being brought in, I think you need to look at the uncertainty and the tumult that this team has really experienced. They were off for 2 weeks with COVID, and they've not been able to really get together at all, like in the weight room. It's something Dwayne Killings mentioned in an interview a few weeks ago. It's one of the things they missed the most. The whole team cannot get together in the weight room and lift and train. They have to go in pairs of one or two. But to have a guy like Theo as the core of your team and the soul of your team, and Zoom meetings and all the other capabilities that they're leveraging, just as we all are in this pandemic, I don't think you can understate that at all. And if this team goes far, it's certainly going to be on the offensive prowess of some of the guys we just brought in, some of these new pieces. But so much of that goes back to someone like Theo, who's just the stable backbone of a program.
Do you think these guys want to win for Theo? I'm serious. Or do you think they want to win for Wojo?
Well, I think we need to go back to something we did 3 or 4
I think they
years.
just want to win.
Was it 3? It must have been 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it 3 years ago? Where Theo accepted upon him the John the Baptist nickname that the Real Chili Pod had put out there. So I think all glory onto Theo, John the Baptist. We need to give him his ups.
Yeah, can he stay on the court, and is he healthy? Those are the two questions.
Well, yeah, of course. And again, I think a lot of this, on the court, the increased depth is going to be so incredibly helpful with just someone like Justin Lewis. I'm incredibly excited to see him. His versatility, obviously a much different style player than Theo, but Theo's the bruiser, and we need him to set the tone, especially in the Big East.
So Brian, I'll say this: it's always difficult to talk about the roster in a normal season when you've seen some YouTube clips of how they're practicing and shit like that. And it's even more difficult in a year like this year when we've seen absolutely nothing and there's been tremendous roster turnover. So expect our analysis to be marginally better.
Look, we've made it very clear, and hats off to, if there's anybody new catching on to us, we're not the recruiting guys. We're not going to give you we'll react to it as we see it. That's after the Pine Bluff game on Wednesday, which we hope to be up and talking about afterward. That's where we'll start learning about everybody. And that's, you read a little bit of the press clippings, but yeah,
we're here to make you
this
feel
is a fan
comfortable.
pod. We're not freaking.
We're here to make you feel comfortable about your knowledge or lack thereof by presenting ourselves, foisting ourselves onto the people and our ignorance. And look, it's okay to be dumb.
And
we'll sprinkle in a few.
Is this about my recent analysis of Theo? Or are you guys saying that was dumb? You can go ahead and say that if you want to.
No, we were focused. We were still going. We were still going back to 3-man weave.
Yeah, once the season starts, we'll sprinkle in some more 3-man weave and some more Ken Pomeroy to make us look a little smarter.
Hey, I got the Ken Pom schedule up right here. You probably can't see it in the thumbnail.
Get us to the schedule, Doc. We're dying for it. We're dying for it.
We got a bona fide cupcake in this first game, which honest to God, I'm psyched for. It's Ken Pom basically has them as the worst team in college basketball. Even so much as they don't even say 99%, it's 99.8%.
Jeez. Well, let me say this. We've got a beautiful 6 to 7 people watching us live right now.
Oh, my God.
Jump in on the YouTube chat, folks. Ask us a question if you got it. We're monitoring it live.
Yeah.
Probably won't give you a great answer or a right answer, but it may be funny listening to us answer. So go ahead and get in there on that. So, Pete Mohan, you just mentioned it. The biggest cupcake we could possibly have. It's worth noting that we only have the schedule. The world only has the schedule through December 23rd when we play at home against Villanova, as we've seen in college football, as we've seen in the NFL, as we've seen, I guess, not in the NBA by design. This season's in flux. How many games actually happen, I think, really sucks to think about, to think, oh, I'm really looking forward to watching that tomorrow night. Oh, half the team has COVID. We're not going to have that. So we know that's a reality. We're going to put it over here. Looking at the schedule, Pete Mohan, it sounds like maybe you've looked at it for 5 minutes longer than I have. What else can you say about Arkansas Pine Bluff, or maybe big picture reactions to the schedule that we have so far?
Well, I mean, once we get those cupcakes out of the way, well, and I will say that some have noted Eastern Illinois could potentially be a trap game. The Fighting Romos out there could give us a run. But I think in general, when you look at this schedule heading up through the 23rd in the game against Villanova, all we should want for Christmas is an above 500 record. I mean, This is about as tough of a December schedule as you can see. I mean, obviously we're not having our like whatever mini tournament around Thanksgiving like we were scheduled to, but it's still jam packed. I mean, Oklahoma State, Wisconsin, UCLA, and then the 4 Big East games of Creighton, Seton Hall, Xavier, and Villanova. That's a murderer's row of games. I mean, if you saw those teams lined up against you in the bracket in the tournament, you would be, not crapping your pants. But hey, that's some good teams lined up against us, and Wisconsin looks to be pretty good this year. So tough to win a rivalry game. I mean, and we also lose the advantage of having Wisconsin at home. Who knows how much of an advantage it is this year to be playing on an empty home court, which is unfortunate to not have the Fiserv Forum rocking. But, it is what it is. It essentially every game is a neutral court now. So we get to just really see some pure basketball.
I actually don't know the answer to this. So Fiserv will be empty. They're not doing distancing. I guess it's indoor, so there's not even really even in Wisconsin.
I'm sure maybe their moms are allowed to go or something.
Will there still be graphics on the Jumbotron of the players singing Christmas songs, though?
I hope so.
Very important question.
That is a good question.
Because I'm still pissed that they retired the What's Up Marquette, What's Up song. They retired that from the rotation.
Oh, they did?
And they play freaking, I don't even like saying the words,
that
but
does not please me.
Baby Shark.
No.
They play that in Fiserv Forum. Like, within 5 minutes of the game ending.
Does
I
the
hear
jump
it
around
sometimes.
guy jump to Baby Shark?
Don't say it out loud.
That song's big in this house, baby.
Oh, hell no. That song is the death of music. Anyways.
There's like a Christmas version, a Halloween version. There's like all these.
Don't even tell me that. Don't put those thoughts in my head.
Right.
You need to quit.
Hey, quit.
But to bring things back together, this schedule is really tough. And if we get to Christmas with an above 500 record in these games, I think that honestly that might be a pretty good success from this roster, which is so fresh. What do you guys think?
Looks like you've got a dry erase board.
But is it clean though?
It is.
Yeah, it will be tough. I mean, the Oklahoma State's got one of the best recruits in the country, if I'm not mistaken, in Cade Cunningham. UCLA, we got to go out to LA to play that game. We get to play Mick Cronin again, which that will be very fun to see his rat face up there on the screen. If we get the Pac-12 network, that is. I think that game's on Pac-12.
Don't forget what UCLA did to end last season. They went on an absolute heater. Won 11 of their last 13, something like that. I'm just
don't dump on the Pac-12.
I'm just saying UCLA. Knock Mick Cronin you want. It is baffling to see him as UCLA's head coach, but goddamn, they figured it out last season and got real good. Mohan, what in God's green earth are you diagramming? All right, well, let's get it to Big East. After UCLA, Big East play mercifully starts. This is what's, Mike, you already alluded to it. We only get the beginning part. The schedule we only have through December 23rd. So we get Creighton, Seton Hall, Xavier, and Nova. Yikes. Look, the young team, new team with a lot of guys, they'll learn fast against that.
Throw them into the fire. Right, Brian?
Yeah, you're not getting any favors early. So
does anyone have
we'll find out.
I saw a comparison recently from last December and our schedule to this coming December, and it is.
Do we have it in front of us? Come on, Eric. Let's go.
Show me. I mean, it is unbelievable if you look at last year and what we rolled into the Big East season with to this year. And granted, there's so many things that are different, but holy cow, it's going to be a stark awakening for this team.
It's tough always for us to play Oklahoma State. Neighbor and I, because of Pistol Pete, it's tough to go up against a fellow Pete like that. I don't know.
Oh, the mascot?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mean the best mascot in college? You mean the best mascot in college sports?
All right.
That thing's unbelievable.
I thought you were talking about Pete Gillum for a second.
So we've been we've been going for almost an hour here about a team that we haven't seen play yet. So I think it's time to shift over to the final segment of our show today, which will be the junk drawer segment. Before we do so, if you happen to be one of our 5 viewers watching right now, we're going to be doing this throughout the season. We're going to be doing more reaction pods live on YouTube immediately after games, as close as we can get it to after games. Tell your friends, tell your family about this. Be sure to tweet out the live links. We're going to be doing a lot of this. Feel free to ask us questions in the YouTube link.
It'll be a little more heated after, a brutal home loss or whatever. Or, hopefully a big
Hopefully
road
looking forward
win.
to those. That sounds great.
Eric Pond,
They're almost more fun. Let's be honest.
I'm going to throw it to you, Eric Pond, to kick off the inaugural junk drawer of the 2020-2021 season. So take us away.
Mike, thank you. I appreciate, Doc, you continuing to appease my demands to have a junk drawer on every single one of these. We will add more segments, I know, at some point, recurring segments that we can all rely on, and we'll brand them in some hilarious manner. But to kick off the season, a few things I want to talk about. The first is a big congratulations to a guy we already talked about earlier. Wes Matthews sounds like he signed with the LA Lakers earlier on a 1-year, $3.6 million deal. Not only $1 million raise over his 2020 salary, but of course going to play for the reigning NBA champs. So perhaps another NBA title, fortunately or unfortunately, for a Marquette grad. So Wes Matthews, congratulations tonight.
You call that junk? That's good news.
That's great news. Yeah, no, it was just the thing I didn't think we would get to or get around to. Next, and this is really kind of the core of the junk drawer here. I think we can skip a few other things that I had queued up. The junk drawer always overfloweth for our Real Chili Nation, but I think we could and should potentially do an entire show dedicated to Jimmy Butler, the arc of his career, and specifically what he accomplished in the bubble down in Orlando. I think we all know that. It's pretty obvious for Marquette Nation at this point and in the playoffs. But aside from his sort of basketball performances, one of the stories that the postseason really kind of focused on, the media was really attending to, was his entrepreneurial skills as the CEO and president and barista of Big Face Coffee, notably selling his creations for $20 a cup. So wasn't a one or two times kind of thing. Jimmy Butler, I think, really has a future in the coffee biz. He filed apparently 3 trademarks for Big Face Coffee in September while he was in the bubble for $4,000, $4,125 with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. That's also equivalent to 207 cups of Big Face Coffee, if you're following along, if you're paying attention at home here. So brings me to my junk drawer point. This is the climax of the junk drawer. Why in the hell has no one at Marquette contacted Jimmy about rebranding all of the MU brews, including the famed Bridge location, the Brew Bayou in the Alumni Union?
Do they still call it that?
The Brew at Straz. I had to Google this. They do still call it the Brew. Yes, and it's still called the Brew Bayou, apparently. I Googled it. As of 2018, yes.
According to Lil Wayne.
They should all be Big Face Coffee locations. What in the hell is Marquette doing? Why are they? I'm sure Jimmy would be thrilled to partner with Marquette to launch the first Big Face Coffee locations.
Is this your idea pitch to become Marquette's next president, Eric?
We are here. The ideas are free, ladies and gentlemen. Bubbles, I know a certain free. This is to keep everyone coming back through the season. I know I was not a business school major, Klingler for life, but this is.
I know a certain podcast that could use a big time sponsor. So, just throwing that out there.
Jeez.
I actually was planning on doing our own, I want to do our own commercials. Like dogs. Bark, bark, bark. Eat a lot of food. Pretty cool, at chasing balls and stuff like that. Dogs. Buy them. And then, by doing those really good commercials, people are like, hey, maybe we should run our ads and have them read it because they're doing those good dogs commercials. So...
Does anyone remember there was a game when we were
good?
We were all at school. And it was, It was that's content. That's content right there.
That's right.
There was a game when we were old school, and there was some prominent announcer, and I kicked myself. I don't remember who it was, but Jimmy hit a big three, and he just goes, Jimmy Butler, the heart of this team, and his teammates call him Dinosaur Head. So I always regret that he didn't also name his coffee company Dinosaur Head Coffee. But guys, I think there's something here. That wraps up the junk drawer. That's the segment.
I have something to add to toss into the junk drawer. Okay, it's a little game I'd like to play called Name That Hauser. Okay, now Marcus Howard got drafted on Wednesday, or didn't get drafted. Sorry, we talked about that. Marcus Howard got signed by the Nuggets. There was a lot of chatter on Twitter about Marcus Howard, why he didn't get drafted, blah, blah, blah. And then immediately when the announcement came that he signed that 2-way contract, many people were tweeting about it. And there was one Twitter follower who, I should have looked this up before, but I thought of it as we were talking here, named something Hauser. And he was tweeting in response to many different tweets about Marcus Howard, just basically shitting on Marcus Howard and his pro prospects, saying that he was too small, volume shooter, can't play defense. And this was like 5 or 6 times. So I wish I had it right in front of me to direct all of, all 10 of us here right now to find this. But I don't know what Hauser it was. Maybe that has already come to light and somebody can answer that for us. But some good stuff right there.
You need the big like board behind you, like Always Sunny, with a guy like connecting dots. Just like
I kind of wish there was like a college basketball TMZ, just like paparazziing players all the time and like out of bars and stuff, and like just all of the juicy drama that surrounds these guys. They're like making burner accounts. That would be like the obviously the new version to dovetail with your story. That's drama. That's the good stuff.
So
the other side of it
what is that Petty Hauser? That's what I want the Real Chili fan base to find out.
It's the dad.
Is that Hauser?
I think it's a cousin.
Maybe a nephew.
Someone like up in like fucking Oconomowoc or someone who's never getting out of there. Nothing wrong with Oconomowoc, I'm sure, but or wait.
Why you gotta hate on the people from Oconomowoc? A lot of great Marquette people from Oconomowoc. What the hell, Mike?
I wonder why.
Now, Beaver Dam. Now that's another story.
All right.
Wait, are we done with the junk drawer?
No.
I just wanted to say.
You got more to add to it?
Oh, shoot. Well,
this is also not junk.
Well, goddamn, I got another one. If you guys
while we're all caught up,
just having a beverage, talking about junk drawer.
Hang on. Mohan's got the floor. What do you got?
I just would like to say that while we're all consumed with COVID and everything, that climate change is still real, and I hope that everyone continues to acknowledge that. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on climate change. It'll get you, and it'll get your insurance rates. That's my junk drawer.
I'd add.
Don't buy coastal property.
I'd add to the climate change junk drawer systemic racism, and vaccines are real. But we only got 3 listeners now, so I guess
we're really hitting them with the extreme takes. Vaccines are real. This is the kind of pro-vaxxer content that people come to YouTube for.
They're dropping like Marcus Howard jump shots.
All the Marquette alums in Oregon have turned their backs on us.
So, with that, 65 minutes in, one of our longest podcasts ever. We're going to wrap it. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode, this inaugural episode of looking. We're back and we're ugly. This inaugural episode of the 2020-2021 Real Chili podcast. We're excited for this season, no matter how it turns out. A lot of talent on the roster, a lot of things to be excited about. I'm going to throw it to each of you for final thoughts. If anybody wants to chime in with final thoughts, Brian, how's that game going behind you?
There might be talent on the roster, but god damn it, there's more talent on this podcast. Let's go. Tip it off. For the love.
Let's get to work.
Just start the damn thing already. Jesus. Can we get an NCAA tournament this year?
Ooh.
God bless it. Just get us there.
All right. And with that, signing off for Pete Mohan, who did all the legwork in getting this new platform up and running. Let's give him a round of applause. Hopefully our 4 viewers right now are really enjoying it. Thank this man right here, Pete Mohan.
They passed out minutes ago.
They're all bots, really, from Russia.
Can I make a graphic as well as RJ? Is all I want to know.
That joke is for you and I, and that's just spectacular. And
I will only tell niche jokes from now on. It's my destiny.
There we go.
And I am looking forward to the season tipping off as well. I predict that Theo John will win the opening tip of the season against whatever piney scrub comes up there from the bluffs of Arkansas.
Jeez.
And I predict he'll get an offensive foul on the first time down the court. Illegal screen going that way. All right. Let's go.
All right. Signing off for Pete Mohan, Eric Pond, Pete Worth, and Brian Bubbles Henry. I'm your host, Mike Lavender. We'll see you next time, folks.
Goodbye, nerds.
Wear a mask. Bring one out.
Wear a mask.
Inaugural stream about as successful as the Titanic. Love it.